All right, everyone, what's up? I am going to do a quick video analysis for XRP and why I think it's going to rally. So first and foremost, let's just talk about what's been wrong with it. So the SEC has been trying to sue them for a couple years now, and the lawsuit's for like $2 billion. Now, most people don't realize this, but the SEC and XRP had a settlement hearing about 2 weeks ago, right? And what I think is going to happen is I think this is going to be the upcoming catalyst that's going to propel XRP into a bull market. Because this has been overhanging on them for quite some time. And in my experience with other companies I've seen, typically what happens is the case gets dismissed or the fine just gets reduced by like 80%, right? So in the case of XRP, if the fine gets reduced from 2 billion to like 250 million, 300 million, then that's kind of a win in the case. And I think that would be taken as a positive in the market. So that's just as the hidden catalyst I think is going to come. But let's just look top down for XRP. So right now on the monthly candle, let's just acknowledge a couple things, right? The things that we're going to acknowledge is the MACD and the RSI. Now, very commonly, when a stock enters the bull market on the monthly, the MACD crosses the zero, the signal line crosses the zero, and the RSI bases over 50, right? So you can see kind of a 46 to 50 area of consolidation, and then once we break out above 50 and do a higher high, it's off to the races, right? This also coincides with the signal line crossing above the MACD. Now, since this was an inception chart and you don't have a downturn in the MACD, let's just look at the second cycle, right? Same thing happens here, right? So we have about the 50. We go, we break up. This one looks like a really strong move, right? That went from 24 to 80, so like a 300% move. And then it went back and it back tested the 50, right? Went down to like 47. And then once we started breaking back above 50, it was off to the races for the next rally. This also coincides with what happens here with the MACD, right? Crosses the zero line, then the signal line crosses the zero line, and then it's off to the races. Where are we at now, right? On the monthly chart, we've been basing over 50, and in my opinion, this is the back test, right? The last 2 months was a back test under 50, and now we're getting above it. Now this is a higher high, but the thing is, right now, I think this monthly candle, I think the month of April is going to finish higher than this because I think we're going to rally this month, right? What does that coincide with? We had the back test, and now we have the signal line crossing the MACD. Same thing as the other two times, right? We have to remember there's hundreds of technicals in the stock market. You always want to look for the ones that already have proven themselves until they disprove themselves, right? You don't just want to be a fibs trader. You don't want to just be a moving average trader. You want to look on the chart that you like, and you want to find technicals that have already proven themselves and then follow those till they disprove themselves. So in the case of XRP, the last two cycles has shown the exact same results. What are we experiencing right now? The same thing, right? That's on the monthly chart. Now let's look on the weekly chart. Let me check something really quick. There's nothing there. Okay. So same thing applies with the weekly chart, right? So what have we had here? We kind of had a breakout, had some back tests. Usually what happens is there's a curl right here at the zero line and it starts coming up, and that's exactly what we did. So for the past few weeks, we've already went green, and I think this is a back test on the MACD. If we look for the RSI, we see the same correlation, right? We see a break under 40, we see a reclaim of 50 RSI on the weekly, and now we see a back test. We've also reclaimed the RSI VWAP, but this looks like a phenomenal break above, back test to 50, and now we go higher, right? That's what I'm seeing on the weekly. Same thing here, right? We see, as far as the chart, it's just been slow consolidation, right? Every pop getting sold. I think they're just waiting on the catalyst. But essentially, since May of 2022, we're currently above 75% of the shares traded. So this is all becoming support, right? So even though the pops are getting sold, we're making higher lows, right? We're slowly making higher highs, except this one, right? But the more cognizant thing to be mindful of is the higher lows, right? And then we have the weekly RSI and MACD showing confluence with the monthly. Now, let's go on the daily, right? What's happening here? We just now flashed back green after the zero back test, right? Now we broke down, we're back testing, and now we're going green again. What's happening with the RSI, right? Boom, 50. This looks like a back test to me, right? So what happens by the end of this week? It's very likely that even by the end of this week, maybe next week, but maybe it's very probable that this week we just fucking dart off, right? As soon as we get this daily close today, that's a back test. I guess we could have another down day and maybe rally into the weekend, something like that. But I think it's mainly waiting on the catalyst, and we can't identify when the catalyst is going to come. But I think it is coming, you know. And then the other thing I would look at is this also looks like an inverse head and shoulders building out, if you ask me. But also, I'm a huge fan of the ADL line. Let's look at the ADL line. To me, this is insane, right? This is why I've been pretty bullish on XRP. The ADL line has shown more accumulation than Bitcoin and every other crypto. Through all these cycles, higher lows, higher lows, higher lows, right? And now we're sitting here and we're consolidating sideways, and we had a dip, and I think we're going to break above this ADL line, right? And I think when that happens, it's off to the races. I really do. So that's all the RSI and the MACD and the ADL factor on all time frames. Then let's look at the charting, right? What are we looking at right now in the short term? In my opinion, I think this is a leading diagonal, right? It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then this is an ABC correction. Where do we correct that? Down into this area of demand. And now we've created demand under us. And if we want to look to see if this demand zone from this candle is valid, let's just look at previous history since we've hit above it. Bottom wick, bottom wick. So far, this is being valid as demand. It's being respected, right? So what do I think is going on here? I think we're starting wave 3, right? If we start wave 3, I think that could get us above 75 cents fairly easy, but I think the move is much bigger than this, especially if we experience a settlement with SEC, right? You have the all-time high descending resistance, right? It used to be down here and it keeps getting rejected. Now this is the new one. I think once we start breaking above this, and especially when we get above 78, 80, we really leave this behind. It's a breakout, right? And this move is going to be so much bigger. You know, there's not a lot of crypto assets that have real world assets, and this does, right? They're working with hundreds, if not thousands, of banks, right? Managing all these transactions, and that's everything that needs to be taken into consideration when you think of XRP, right? It's been laying dormant. A lot of people have been considering it a dead trade, but guess what? It's not a crowded trade. The crowded trades are the moves that never move, right? You look for the ones that have been laying dormant. They've been accumulating. They've been accumulating. Look at this, right? Been accumulating. Look at that, right? 3 to 4 times accumulation from the previous all-time high cycles, which is a nice move away. So this is quick and easy. You know, I think the top down is what's showing. I think the monthly chart is truly what's showing everything, right? Everyone's not paying attention to this. And I think that's a big deal, right? I think they're turning a blind eye to this, right? The signal line crossing the 0 line with a back test of 50 and then a higher high on the monthly. I think this is telling us a big move is coming. That's a multi-month move. But that's it. That's my XRP analysis. It's my biggest position in crypto. And cheers.